Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. We're a couple of days now removed from fight night. People still reacting to what they saw. I watched Nick Ball versus Ray Vargas again, just because the majority of people were saying that Nick Ball was unlucky. He should be a world champion. Obviously I was there ringside watching it, but it's really difficult to score it from one position ringside. So the best way to score it is just by watching it on TV, because you get to see everything. And I thought he was very unlucky. Very unlucky. I actually gave it to Nick Ball by a couple of rounds. So we should have a new world champion in Britain, and we desperately need some, right? We've only got 3 world champions, male world champions, Joe Cordina, Tyson Fury, that could change hands soon, and Chris Billam-Smith. I think Chris Billam-Smith's going to fight Richard Riakporhe soon, so win or lose, we're still going to have a world champion there. But yeah, we desperately need world champions, and I think Nick Ball deserves to be a world champion. And then there was a talk about Raymond Ford in this 5 versus 5, so he could have been a unified world champion by the summer. And now, look, I still think he's got a very good chance of beating Raymond Ford, by the way. Just his style is a problem. Like, it is a problem. It reminds me of Provodnikov. Remember him? Ruslan Provodnikov, if I said that name correctly, I think I have, who gave Timothy Bradley hell, had that war with Lucas Matisse. It reminds me of him. He just doesn't stop coming forward. He's got good punch power as well. So regardless if he won on Saturday, I still think, or Friday, I still think he will be a world champion in the future. I think there's a lot to admire about Nick Ball. One thing we didn't talk about, that I just completely forgot about, was this Conor Benn versus Manny Pacquiao face-off thing, which just came out of the blue. I was doing, was it the press conference? It was, I think, right? Yeah, I was doing the press conference, and they're in my ear telling me Manny Pacquiao is in the building. And I didn't know, because, you know, it is, some fighters come with this really big entourage. So you can kind of see sort of just a swarm of people. Manny Pacquiao just came, I think, with a friend and his wife, like very unassuming, which I love. I really do. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest fighters of all time, right? 8-weight world champion. He just walks in, sits down, and takes his seat. So I'm seeing him there, and I'm seeing Conor Benn behind him. And I mentioned it on the broadcast, like, oh, Manny Pacquiao is in the building. And then, as I'm just talking about AJ and Gardner, obviously, they tell me, quick, throw to the stage, Ariel Helwani is with Conor Benn and Manny Pacquiao. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I do remember there was a lot of talk about this fight, maybe, I want to say before the Eubank, but it might have just been after all the Eubank drama. So it's been there before, but it's done, surely. It's done, right? I mean, Manny Pacquiao hasn't fought for I don't know how long, and Conor Benn, I think, has moved on and is really wanting to fight people, it seems, above 147 pounds. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao, a 147 guy. So I kind of just, it didn't make sense to me. Anyway, through to Ariel Helwani, it seemed like there's been a discussion. I think Manny Pacquiao said it, like he wants to leave Saudi Arabia, and I'm guessing he's gone now, with some sort of confirmation of a fight. When Ariel pushed Eddie on it, Eddie didn't deny or confirm. He kind of just said, look, let's enjoy what we're doing here. When I asked Conor Benn about it on the broadcast on Fight Night, he kind of, again, didn't confirm or deny. So I don't know if it was just a case of, they're there, let's do a face-off, let's see what the reaction is, let's gauge the public interest and go from there. I don't know. I sort of was on social media immediately after that face-off happened, and the reaction was not great. It wasn't great. Obviously, look, again, Manny Pacquiao. So look, when did he last fight? Was it Keith Thurman or Ugas? My brain's a bit fried early. Number one, the thing that just pointed out, stuck at straight away, he's 45. Manny Pacquiao's 45 years of age. His last fight was against Ugas, and that was the 21st of August, 2021. Let me remind you guys now, this is March 2024. So, no. And he lost as well to Ugas. So, no. Just no. No. Not for me. Not for me at all. What was funny, though, when I asked Barry Jones, you guys would have seen that Barry Jones on the broadcast with me, I said, who's favourite? He actually said Manny Pacquiao. So I don't know. I'm not sure. But it does seem with Conor Benn, there is this, I don't know, like throwing fights on the wall and seeing what sticks. In the last month since he had that fight with Peter Dobson, we've heard Gervonta. Again, Eddie sent, I was going to say an offer, but sent a number to Gervonta. Gervonta obviously is not taking the fight. He's fighting Frank Martin. A couple of weeks ago, Danny Garcia, and now Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, Eubank's name's been mentioned as well. It looks like Eubank might be going a different direction. But there seems to be so many different names being mentioned, different weight classes. Eubank's 160, Danny Garcia 154. Gervonta, I guess, would have been a 147 fight. This would have been a 147 fight. It's confusing, isn't it? It's confusing. It really is. I mean, it's almost as though they're struggling to get Conor a fight that he wants. Eddie said about a month ago that Conor's next fight will be pay-per-view. There's only a few opponents that can make it a pay-per-view fight. Eubank would have definitely made it a pay-per-view fight, and I'm sure there's still conversations behind the scenes with Eubank. Manny Pacquiao, I mean, that's not a pay-per-view fight. I mean, it is, because it's Manny Pacquiao, but it's not, if that makes any sense. Gervonta would certainly have been a pay-per-view fight, and Danny Garcia, for me, isn't a pay-per-view fight. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, I will always go back to it with Conor, and I get it. It's not a pay-per-view fight, and it doesn't maybe generate the money that Conor wants or that Conor gets. But I've said it, and I'll say it again. Barrios. It's the one. Barrios. You know, someone, actually not someone, Chris Mannix, me and him, sorry guys, me and him were talking about Conor. No, in fact, we were talking about Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and I was like, look, Ryan shouldn't fight Devin. Ryan's going through something. And I was mentioning that there were a number of opponents Devin could fight. And one of the opponents that Mannix said was like, okay, what about Conor Benn? What about Conor Benn? Like, Conor Benn's been talking about fighting Devin Haney. Devin would certainly go up to 147. Conor Benn's right there. That's a big fight. It's a lot of intrigue. The press conference would be incredible. Obviously, you'd have to make Devin a favourite, but Devin is stepping up in weight again, having just stepped up to 140. I mean, that's a fight, right? I mean, that's, if Ryan, and I'm guessing they're going to have to make a decision about Ryan very, very soon. I think they've decided he is fighting, but if there's any more hiccups, Conor Benn would take that fight in a heartbeat, and I actually think Devin Haney would take that fight in a heartbeat as well. There's your pay-per-view fight. There it is. Not Manny Pacquiao, not Danny Garcia, not Chris Eubank Jr. at 160. I just want to see Conor Benn have this run at 147. I personally think Conor Benn is a superstar. I think he's there. I think he's got the look. He talks well on the mic. I love the way he can switch to Spanish. I like everything about Conor Benn. And yes, look, there is this asterisk because of what happened last year, but I think he's a superstar. And I think they need to build him properly. I feel like something's not quite right with how this Conor Benn story is just going all over the place. I think Conor Benn has everything. I really do. And I actually think he's a very good boxer as well. I think he's improving. I mean, you look at Conor Benn when he fights, and you wouldn't think that this guy had barely any amateur background. He fights well. He's got the gas tank. I think one thing, yes, I know people critiqued him for not stopping Dobson, but he went the rounds. And he actually looked very good going the rounds as well. So he's got the gas tank. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. But Manny Pacquiao, no. It's just, no. And I don't think that, well, like I said, I don't think that will happen. It could happen. It really, really could happen. But I don't know what, apart from a lot of that, I don't know what Conor gets out of beating Manny Pacquiao, who's not been in the ring. And by the time the fight rolls round, if it were to happen, wouldn't have been in the ring for 3 years. I don't know what you get out of that. Andre Ward here. Canelo's refusal to fight Benavidez would taint his legacy. Would it? Every fighter in the history of the sport hasn't fought someone when they should have. Every. So I don't agree with that statement at all. I mean, there were times when Floyd should have fought Paul Williams. There were times when Floyd should have fought Margarito. There were times when Floyd should have fought guys when he should have fought them and didn't. Don't think it tainted his legacy. I don't agree with that. Do we want to see it? Absolutely. But when it's all said and done, I'm not going to look at Canelo's resume and run through it and say, yeah, I don't know, should have fought Benavidez. No, I don't think I will. And for the record, I do think he fights Benavidez. I do. But let's see how it gets on with Munguia. Really, really looking forward to that Munguia fight, by the way. Alicia Baumgardner says her suspension has been lifted. She's free to box again. You know what it is with these suspensions? By the way, look, welcome back, Alicia Baumgardner. I just feel, though, that even if even if the commission or whoever gave you the blue tick or the tick to say you're okay to fight, we got it wrong, I feel like it's the public. Whether or not the public believe it is a whole different thing. If the public don't believe it, it doesn't matter that she's been given the okay, a thumbs up to fight again. And I don't know if the public believe that Alicia Baumgardner hasn't done anything wrong. I just don't know. I try and gauge, and social media, look, it's a cesspool, right? It's difficult to kind of gauge anything from there. But when you look at the way people have reacted to the news on social media, I don't know. I think people, look, I do think people get it wrong sometimes. People look at people's physiques and see muscles and like, she's definitely doing something. Muscles don't equate to fucking steroid use. I mean, there are a number of people that have no muscles that have been popped, right? So it isn't that, but I just feel like, I'm just not sure. It was the wrong time for her to go through this, because I think she was on course for the Serrano fight. I really do. She was on course for big fights. Her star power was going that way, and now it's kind of just. I have no idea who she fights, by the way. No idea. I know there's talk of this Clarissa Shields, and it's been floated, but at what weight class? Clarissa's not going to get down to anything less than 154, and Baumgardner is a 135 or 130 fighter? Ain't happening, is it? Ain't happening. What else is there to talk about? Let's have a look. Activity matters. Tim Zhu says boxing is devoid of old school fighters. Yeah, it is. Like it really is. It really is. And it's a shame because it's from the big names. Do you know what I mean? Like the big names, like lesser name guys are fighting. Like again, I just done Andre Nowitzki, lesser name, who fought on the undercard of this AJ Ngannou fight, and he had 8 fights last year. 8 fights, and look, I know he was coming through, and there were 1-round knockouts and 2-round knockouts. Still had 8 fights. Activity, and he looked good, didn't he, in his fight? I think Joseph Parker, activity looks good. AJ, activity looks good. Wilder, no activity, looked trash. Like it's not rocket science. I mean, look, if you're in wars, then yeah, of course, look, rest up. Absolutely rest up. If you're not in wars, what are you doing? Wilder knocked Hellenius out in a round. Didn't fight for nearly 2 years. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, I completely agree with Tim Zhu. And obviously this is almost a little kick to Keith Thurman, who he takes on in March. Well, when is that fight? I say in March, we're in March. One second. That fight is the 30th of March, not too long to go. That'll be Amazon Prime's first fight card under PBC. And then a couple of 6 weeks later, they got the big one. They have the big one, Munguia or Canelo Munguia. Yeah, that's obviously a dig at Keith Thurman, who, I mean, just doesn't fight at all, does he? So yeah, nothing there. Trainer Ben Davison insists Anthony Joshua's improvements are his own. Ultimately, it's the boxer, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, a trainer can tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it. If the boxer doesn't follow those instructions, then it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I was speaking to Andy Lee about this, in how Joseph Parker attacked Wilder, and Andy could tell him 100 times, you just got to be aggressive and go for it, knowing really in the back of his mind, if he does go for it, he could get caught coming in. He went for it. He listened to his trainer. So yes, it is Joshua doing it by himself, but Ben's giving him the instructions, and Joshua's trusting him. Like, okay, if you do this, AJ, this will happen. Trust me. And sometimes that fighter trainer relationship, it takes a long time to build that trust. Like, do you trust your trainer to do what he's telling you to do to get the W? And AJ and Ben Davison have it straight away. It's incredible how quick they built up that relationship. I think that is it. Let's have a look and see if there's any other bits and bobs. I do desperately want to try and do a live. We haven't done one in ages. It's just, yeah, we'll see. I'm just super busy, as you guys know, super busy. Like, I'm leaving for Talk Sport in about an hour. And then I got some bits to do. I might have some big news, you know. I don't know if you guys are still watching this right now. If you are watching this right now, and I know that you've watched it all the way to the end, just type big news, and I'll be very, very happy with you guys. Might have some big news in a couple of weeks, not boxing related, football related. I'll let you guys know. Peace and love.